This is how we can mess around with type before we put it through the photocopier. So this will be partially about making a bitmap. So if I jump into Photoshop for a second and I get the type tool and I'll type in a word. So one of my words is going to be marama. I'll go Command T and just make it a bit bigger. Hit return and it's back to normal. Just going to check and make sure it's black. A fast way to fill is Option Delete, and if I want to keep the transparency, Option Shift Delete, and it fills with the foreground color. Command Delete will fill with the background color. Command Shift Delete keeps the transparency. So now I'm going to go Filter, and I'll go to Liquify. It will now ask me whether I want to rasterize it or convert to a smart object. I'll go Smart Object. In here, I'll just change this menu down so you can see it. We're going to have all our aspects for size and pressure, all that sort of thing. You can use the left square brackets. We'll make that brush smaller. Right square brackets. Every time we hit it, we'll make it a bit bigger. Anyway, I'm going to drag this down a bit. Push it in. Move it around. That's pretty good in its own right, actually. I'll go OK. And then I've got my distorted text. If I want to add a blur onto this, because it's a smart object, I need to rasterize it. Layer, rasterize, smart object. It's gone back to normal here. And then what I can do is I can just draw a selection through part of this. Select, modify, feather. This is just softening the edge, the transition. 25 sounds good. And then I'll go filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and you can see the transition happening in there. I'll go OK with that. Command D will get rid of that selection. So at this stage, I could use this and play around with it. If I want to give it that dotty quality or a line or anything else, then I'm going to have to use channels. What happens is the dots work better for a bitmap when it's not pure black and white. So I want to try and make this a grey. The way I do that is I'm going to use channels. So I go Command A, which selects all, can see the selection. Command X to cut it. Along here by layers you have channels. I'll make a new channel down here. I'll go Command V, which just pastes the whole image. In this case I'm going to go, I can see my background color is white, so I'll fill it with white. Command delete. Command D to get rid of that selection. Now I'll come down to my selection tool, which is this little dotty circle. I'll click it. Go back to my layers. Find a blank layer. I'll make a new layer. And now before I fill it, I'm going to click on the foreground color, pick a grey. Okay. And now Option delete, which fills with the foreground color. Command D to get rid of that selection. V for the arrow tool. And I'll drag it up to the top. Now I'm going to make my bitmap. Now a bitmap changes it to pure black and white. So I'll go image mode. It has to be grayscale before I can change it to a bitmap. When it says flatten or don't flatten, we'll go flatten. Discard. It has to be flattened before you can make a bitmap. Image mode bitmap. Go OK. Just getting rid of the channel and everything. Usually you go 3 times up with this menu. If it says 300, we'll go 900. We want to have it on halftone screen. Sometimes it's on one of these others. Halftone screen. We'll go OK. Now you can choose the shape you want. I'm just going to choose round dots. The angle doesn't really matter. The frequency is how large the dots are going to be. Smaller the number, larger the dots. So if I put it on 20, we go OK. You can see the size of the dots. If I go Command Z, I can start that process again. Mode, bitmap. Okay, everything will be set. I'll go OK. This time instead of 20, I'll put it on 5 and you'll see the size of the dots change. Okay. They're actually a bit bigger now, so it's quite nice through there. So with that, once we've made a bitmap, we want to get it back to grayscale. When it comes up with this little measurement, we want to have a size ratio 3. Go OK. And now with this, I find Photoshop a bit hard to print from, so I'm going to save it and put it into Illustrator to print from. File, save as. Give it a name. Save it as a JPEG. Go save. Maximum quality. Okay. Back into Illustrator. And on my new page here, same size, A4. I'm going to place that image. And it's a bit small, so I'll scale it up. And now I'm ready to print.